Head over to miniaturemarket.com where they have thousands of board games at discounted prices, and you can sign up for product alerts. Hello my friends, it's the Game Boy Geek here. You're about to see my Allegro 1-minute overview and final thoughts. This is designed to see if this game warrants more of your time. If it does, just keep watching because then you'll see my full intro overview and final thoughts. However, if you don't want to be spoiled anything and you want to skip right to the full review, use the time index below in YouTube. Bear Raid is a stock market game for 3 to 6 players where you'll be buying and selling stocks that are from companies that have similar names to very popular companies that are in the real world. You're trying to have the most money, and you'll do so by possibly buying stock at certain prices like 25 bucks a stock. You're tracking your money and your stock, how many you've owned, behind your shield secretly. But you'll be able to manipulate the market by possibly taking dice away, changing what might happen at the end of the round. Like in this case, it might go up $10, which is great because I just bought it and I'll make some money. Or I might short stocks by actually getting money now, but possibly paying it back later, gaining the $50 for both these shares now. But you also might be taking dice from behind your shield, adding it to rumors, making sure that this will influence the value of this round. But everyone will get a chance to secretly add some to the bag, which will come out and be distributed at the end of each round. So you're trying to buy and short, manipulate the market, work with other people to get the most money in the end. Bear Raid is an interesting and fresh twist to the stock market genre. You can short stocks that you don't even own, trying to then bankrupt that company. Or you might want to short stocks that you do own to make money. You're trying to bankrupt and split stocks that others own, and you can't go all in on something because somebody's gonna totally mess you over if you do that. You have to work with others. There's gotta be table talk involved. You're gonna be working with others and going with others on different stocks and working up and down. You're trying to figure out the market. You're looking at what's happening now and what's going to be happening next round with a little bit of future events. This is a puzzly game that changes every game, every round, and every turn based upon what other players do. It is an evolving puzzle that is absolutely awesome and very unique to stock market with the shorting and how things work, and a lot of it's secret. It can be too mean for some. It's longer than the box says. It's closer to 90 minutes. I'd only play 6 rounds. That's my personal preference. And they could have used 50s and 10s instead of the $500 bills, but the game's fantastic. It got a Saxophone Serenade. If you like stock market games, this is a fresh and unique one, Bear Raid. Hello my friends, it's the Game Boy Geek here. Today we're going to be talking about bears and bulls, but no, this is not a game about nature. This is a game about stocks because we're going to be talking about stocks going up, stocks going down, splitting, companies going bankrupt. Today we're talking about Bear Raid. This is a stock market game for 3 to 6 players. Let me show you how it's played. I'll see you on the other side. In Bear Raid, you're going to be buying and shorting stocks of different companies like Nile, looks a little bit like Amazon, Banana, kind of like Apple, Edison, maybe like Tesla, GameStart, kind of like GameStop, Gazillion, maybe Google, Unusual Oil, kind of like BP. And so you're going to be buying and shorting these to make money and to try to have the most money in the end. Now you'll only play with a certain amount of companies per player. So in a 4-player game, you'd use 4 companies. You could pick which ones you use. Now all the companies start with their stock at $25. Now there's an event card that is here for this round, and you can also see what's going to be coming up next round. And what's going to happen is there's going to be a certain amount of dice randomly that come out. And here we have 2 dice for Gazillion, and it's at 11. And you'll put this on here. So at 8 or more, we put it here. If it was 12 or more, it would go up. And what this is showing you, well, if the round ended right now, this is what would happen, which means it wouldn't go up or down. If these numbers were like 4 or less or at 0, then at the end of the round, this stock would lose money, going down $5 or $10. If it gets more, which means either more dice are put out or maybe re-rolled a little bit later, like more dice come out, you have this and they go up and there'll be more money there. So that's how things work, is you're going to be buying and possibly shorting stocks for the current price and then trying to manipulate the market or rolling with the market with the way it is to try to make money at certain spots. Now each player has a shield, and this is important because you're going to be keeping your money secret, you're going to be keeping your holding secret, and which dice you have behind your shield secret. Everyone starts with $100, and the denominations in this game are 5s, 20s, 500s, and 100s, and I'll talk more about that in my final thoughts, but they are tokens in this game. So at the beginning of the game, you're going to randomly get 4 types of stocks, and you're going to use this board over the course of the game to track how many you have. So at the beginning of the game, randomly, I was given a gazillion, a bananas, and 2 Edisons. So this is how you track things throughout the game, is I have one of these, so I put on 1 on the high side over here, so it's all plus. And then here, Edison, I got 2 of them. So instead of putting them both there, I just put 1 here that says I have 2 of these. So later on, if I gain a third one, I actually can take the one that I have behind my shield and place it up here, because now it's 2 plus 1, I have 3 of those. If I ended up getting 4 of those, then I'd put this here and take this off. So you're always just looking at your board, you're using this to track it. For example, if I had 6, I have 4, I'd take this here and I'd put it here and I have 6. Now sometimes you're going to be selling stock, and let's say I had 4 stocks of Edison and I sold it. Now I only have 3. So what I'd do is I would move this down here and then I would place this right here. So now I have 3. So this is just the way that you secretly track your stock throughout the game. You'll be getting more of these as you buy stocks and such like that. Now on the other side of things, let's say I had no Edisons and I shorted the stock. That's actually kind of like selling it. Well, if I didn't have any, then I'd have -1. Or if I shorted 2 of them, it's like this. So this is the minus side. This is showing you how many stocks that you have to pay back for at the end of the game. But maybe I have 2 shorted and I want to buy one. Well, if I buy one, I now only have a total of 1 shorted. If I buy another one, well, now I'm even. If I buy another one, now I have 1. So it's basically showing you how many positive shares you actually own of companies, or how much sort of like stock you'll have to pay back for at the end of the game. So that's sort of how you track things. So players are going to take turns in clockwise order. There'll be a start player, and each player will take an action clockwise. When it gets to the last player, that player will immediately take a second action, and it will come back. It's like a serpentine draft. So the first player is going to get the first action of the round and the last action of the round. The last player is going to get 2 actions in a row. So that's sort of how the actions work. They're very simple. You could buy stock. So in this case, if I want to buy some gazillion, they're 25 bucks a piece, and there's 5 to buy. Let's say I bought 2 of them. I would spend 50 bucks because it's 25 each. I would take both of these off, showing that there's only 3 left to buy right now in this round for gazillion. And then I'd update my board. So for example, I had 1, I bought 2, so I'll take one of those and put it here, because again, now I have 3 of those. The extra one would actually just go back to the company supply, if you will. Because after the supply, there'll be a bunch of these for specific companies. Now, why am I doing that? I'm buying stock because, well, I already owned 1, and there's 2 dice out here, and it's pretty close to be going up, and I actually have one of these dice behind my shield. I might be able to help add that die to here a little bit later, possibly, and get this thing to go up so I can make some money. Or instead, for your action, you can short stock. Now, how you short stock is, let's say I want to short 2 stock of Nile. So I will take some chips from that company's supply, and I'll short 2 of them. 1, 2. You're actually adding them to the board now, which also makes more stocks available for other people to buy. Now, $25. I'm not buying it, I'm shorting it. Think of it as selling. So in this case, I'm actually going to gain $50 of money right now, but at the end of the game, I'm going to have to pay back wherever this is. And I'd update that here. So now I actually owe 2 stocks of Nile, but I got the money now, so I want that stock to go down because I made money, and if it goes down, then when I pay it back, I've basically made the spread in between that as profit. I have a bunch of orange dice that I can use to manipulate this possibly. Because with all those 3 extra dice, if I'm able to somehow get them on here and rolled this round, it's going to drive this price, this thing up, and if it goes up this round, the stock's going to go down, and that's how I'll make money, because if I short a stock, I basically want it to go down so I can make that spread of that difference. But as you can see, all of these are different. Some of the cards it's completely different. Like if this was here, then actually it would be going up if I had dice, and so it would completely change your strategy, but you can also see what it is next round coming. If we're able to get this thing to go up to here, and we'll show you how that works in a minute, and this goes down next round, if the dies are high, it's also going to continue to go down. So that's a good thing too, because we might be able to drive that company to go bankrupt. Because the price, as it goes down, if it ever drops below 5, the company's bankrupt. And if you owe stocks that you shorted that are bankrupt, you get rid of them and you don't have to pay that debt. So you made all that money and you'll never have to pay it back, and that's a good strategy. Now conversely, the ones that I bought for a gazillion, let's say this price ends up going up this round, and if it continues to go up in multiple rounds, if it goes past 45, it's going to split, which basically means you're going to double the amount of stock you have in that, and this will sort of reset based upon what that split value was, but you're trying to get things to split so you have more and more stock to deal with so you can sell them and short them and make more money that way too. So there's different ways to skin the cat here. Now, so we showed you buying stock and shorting stocks. Another thing you can do is take dice. You can take any amount of dice from a single company. Why would I do this? Well, this one's gonna go down 5 if it ended now. If I take these dice away, there's nothing there. This drops all the way down, which now means at the end of the round, this is gonna be losing $15. Maybe I had shorted this earlier and I want it to continue to go down, so you can manipulate it that way. So here's the dice I just took. Here's the ones I had behind my shield earlier. So the last action you could possibly take is a rumors card. You can take any 3 dice and you're going to add them to this rumors card. This is for sure saying that these dice are gonna come out and get rolled this round, and that's what I want. Because remember, I shorted Nile and I want this value to go up, which is gonna actually drop the value because of this round's anonymous sources report event. Then, once all players have taken those 2 actions in that serpentine draft, there's a bag here. And each player, starting with the first player going clockwise, can, if they want to, place any amount of dice secretly from behind their shield into this bag. However, at the end of this, you can't have more than 5, which means you can't take a bunch of dice from the board and just hoard them all. Sometimes you have to get rid of them, because right now I have 3, so I could put these, or I don't have to, but you can't have more than 5 dice. Once everyone has done that, then we're going to pull from this bag dice until either the bag's empty or there's 3 times the amount of players. Here there's 12. Remember, these are the ones that I placed there, and then we have total of 3 times the amount of player or until the bag's empty. Then we're gonna roll these dice and assign them to the company. So let's say we rolled this, and even with all those dice, we still only got to 17, which would put it on 16 plus, but not quite to 20. Which means this is gonna go down $10. Now I wanted that to happen because I shorted it, but I kind of wanted it to go all the way down, like 15 as it showed. So it's gonna boom like that. So now everyone that owns stock from there, essentially it's worth less. And I shorted stock, so I owe less, which is great because I shorted that stock. I don't have any. I actually have to pay back 2 of them right now at the end of the game, if this was the end of the game. But I'm making that spread, and so I'm trying to see what's going on here. On the other side of things, I just rolled these dice, and gazillion is up here, so it's gonna go up 15, 5, 10, 15, which is great, because I bought 2 of those for 25 bucks. It's now worth 40 bucks. So I just made 15 per share, I just made 30 bucks. Now, you'd keep everything the same, but the new event card is gonna come out like this. So now we still have these dice here, and so you're gonna see what possibly will be happening this round and next round for gazillion, but you don't reset the price, but you will reset each of the stock price, the amount of stocks that are available to the thing where you just have right to the reset line. So each company will always have 5 to take at the beginning of a round, but this price is going to be fluctuating depending on what's happened at the end of the last round. Now some of these cards are pretty interesting. Like this one, if it stayed here at the end of the next round, if it's in the bull market, meaning people had bought, it'd go up 10. But if people had shorted it and it's in the bear, then it would lose 10. So it will depend on what people are doing as to what that event will actually do. And that's really a clever puzzle in the game. That's pretty much how the game works. At the end of the game, you play a certain amount of rounds depending on the amount of players, you will earn money for the stocks depending on their price. And if you have any shorted, you have to pay back this amount, like 2 stocks worth of whatever the price is. And then whoever has the most money at the end is the winner. All right, first of all, the look of this game is really good. It's clean. The great graphic design in this game, it does everything very functionally, because you need to do that in a stock market game by saying up is green, down is red. But the way that things are laid out, the graphics of the cards in the game, of all the different events, the production was good and the graphic design is good. It allows the functionality to work really well, but also makes it look very aesthetically pleasing at the same time. Thumbs up there. This game is an interesting and fresh twist to the stock market genre. Myself and my closest game friend group, in my game group, we all do love stock market games. And so anytime one comes out, we always love to try it. Some of them stick around and some of them don't. This is gonna be one that's gonna be sticking around because it is such a unique twist. Buy and sell, or short in this case. So let's talk about shorting. It's a different twist to other stock games. I don't think I've played a stock game where you're like specifically shorting stocks. which can be a little bit of a trip when you're trying to teach the game to people that haven't played a lot of stock games, because shorting isn't something that's in a lot of games. So it's tough to teach, but it's a little easier to teach if you say something like, well, shorting stocks is kind of like selling them. If you already have them and you short them, you're just basically getting the money for those and you're getting rid of those stock. But if you don't have any, you can short stocks, which essentially is kind of like selling stocks you don't have, getting the money now, and you will probably have to pay back that money, but hopefully you want that stock to go down even further so that you pay less back, meaning you've made that difference. So it's a little different, a little tough to teach, but if you teach it as sort of like, it's kind of like selling stocks, but you can do it with ones you don't own, it makes it a lot easier to teach, and then that helps them kind of understand, okay, that's what shorting is, you're getting that difference. But it really is a cool, fresh twist, because you can short stocks that you don't own, but then try to bankrupt it. You're looking at the event for this round, you're looking at the event for next round, and you're going, for that stock, it's pretty expensive right now. It was driven up the last few rounds. I'm gonna short the heck out of this thing, and then I'm gonna try to manipulate it so that this thing drops down, and then hopefully throughout the rest of the game, I can try to get this thing where it bankrupts so I don't have to end up owing any of that money, which is really cool. You also want to short stocks you do own to make money, because sometimes you want to do something, you see a great opportunity, you don't have a lot of money, and you're like, I need money, what should I do? Well, I guess I'll short the stock that I did well on before to try to just now get the gains in my hands that I've made virtually on that stock and realize those gains, so I'll short those to now make money. So it's interesting, you're shorting stocks to make money on things you already have, but then you're also sometimes shorting stocks on things you don't have because you want to try to drive them down and make a difference in the price or make it go bankrupt. It's really cool. It's a very interesting and fresh, unique mechanism. It's kind of like selling, but a little different too. I love that you're trying to bankrupt sometimes a stock that's split once or twice throughout the game or more that others own, because you're kind of keeping track and everything's hidden, but you're like, okay, Edison's has split twice in this game. I know Alex has gotten a lot of that, right? And so you're like, if I can make this thing tank enough to bankrupt, he's gonna lose all of those stocks, right? And so people are kind of working together to make that happen. If they don't have a lot of Edison, you kind of need to go with other people in certain things. If you're a lone wolf, either shorting the heck out of one stock or buying up one, the other people are gonna just go against you and do the opposite thing. But if you do just a little bit, then you can entice someone else to go with you, and then you can kind of work together. But if you're on your own, you're gonna get clobbered in this game because everyone else is not gonna let you run away with it. And so it's you can't go all in. So it's like if something's really, really cheap and it's like down at like $10 or $5, just above bankrupt, and it's cheap, you're gonna buy a bunch of them. If you buy everything that's there, then players are going to either take the dice off to manipulate the market on what that thing's gonna do, or they're gonna add dice to manipulate the market and screw you up. So you might have bought a ton of stuff, but if it was really low and really cheap, they might affect it so that it ends up going down and going bankrupt and you'll lose all that stock. Or the other way around. So you can't, even if you see a good opportunity, you really can't just be like, I'm all in, because people are gonna screw with you and mess with you. You kind of have to be like, okay, I'll go half in, someone else go half with me, so we're a little protected there. It's really an interesting thing, and it really makes the interaction in this game fantastic. Which brings me to the next thing, which is like table talk. It really does work in instances like this. And because sometimes it's like, you know what, I really want to take all of these dice and because I really want to drive this stock price down. Is anyone else, does anyone else want the stock price to go down? Hey, does anyone else? Because if so, I'll take some of the dice, and then maybe you'll take some of the dice, because we can't keep more than 5 behind our shield at the end. And if I take all of these, then a lot of them are still going to come out. But if I take 2 or 3 of these, or even up to 5, I can keep them. But I can't take all 7 of those dice, because someone else is going to help me out. So you're doing this table talk, and you're working together. And sometimes you might even work in deals where you're like, hey, you know what? I'll take these dice off to help you if you don't do this to me or you do this to me. And there is some table talk there. It's not actually part of it. It's not like in the rule book, but you're going to be working together players. So some of this is played above the table, which I really like. I like that you're limited to how much you can buy or sell each round. So because each round starts with the same amount of stock available. There's 5 of those. So if someone buys up all 5, there's none left until someone shorts them. Same with shorting. And I like that like there's a limit. You can't just go crazy. You're somewhat limited each round. I like that the events bring new strategies now and the future. You're looking at this round, you're looking at next round, and you're saying, okay, if I do this round is a good opportunity, I can make some money. But the next round, it's probably because that next card, it's going to start going in the other direction. So I'm either going to have to pivot and sell or do the opposite thing, or maybe it continues to go that way. So you've got this like a little bit of vision into the future, which is really cool. Okay, so now not only is this an evolving puzzle now and next round, but it's also an evolving puzzle each turn, because you might want to do something because you're like, that's not like a great move here, but this was probably my best move. And the person before you does exactly what you wanted to do. Well, now it's changed. You're like, well, it doesn't make any sense for me to do this now. Maybe I go the opposite direction of what I was just about to do on that stock because he just did this. So now maybe I should do this. And I like that you're going to need to like move and change with what happens there. It can cause a little bit of analysis paralysis because you can kind of plan what you want to do, but if things are going to happen every turn, and it might change on what you're going to do. And that could cause some analysis paralysis. So on the negative side of things, the game can be too mean for somebody. You might buy up all the stock, someone's just gonna take all those dice away, it's gonna drop that thing down, and you might just go bankrupt. So it can be a little mean for some, but again, once you know the knobs that you turn and what others can do, you'll be a little more careful, you'll work with players and things like that, but it can be a little bit cutthroat if you're going for a really big move and other players just totally wipe you out. The box is 60 minutes. The game's longer than that, definitely with any player count over than 3, I'd say. But it didn't feel long. You know, I think you're going to be into this closer to 90 minutes than 60. But I will say that, like in a 4-player game, for example, you play 8 rounds. In a 3-player game, you play 9 rounds. But in a 6-player game, which is max player count, you only play 6 rounds. And so I think for me, when I play this game, I'm just going to play it 6 rounds no matter what. You know what? Because after 12 turns, because you're getting 2 turns per round, I felt like enough had happened in the game. We've seen some things split. We've seen some things go bankrupt. But I feel like we've played a full game. And after that, it's kind of like, you know, repeating some of the things that we've already done. And it didn't feel long. But I would say I think the game's longer than the box says. And I'm probably just going to play 6 rounds, regardless of player count. Because that's the smallest amount of turn numbers, 12 per player, that is designed in as the 6-player game. And if the designer thinks that gives you a good full experience, I felt that way too. Having 3 players and having 9 rounds, so you're getting 18 turns, it didn't feel like it added a whole lot more to the game, is what I'm saying, but it made the game longer. So I'm gonna play it 6 rounds. I don't typically house rule games, but I probably will just because it'll just shorten the game a little bit, keep it a little bit tighter, but you still get a very full experience in that game time. The tokens behind your board. It's the most important concept of a game because it's secret and you can't help somebody with it if they screw up. Where it's like, okay, you got to teach them how it works of adding tokens to this, and if you short them, then you go negative, and then it comes around the other way. And it's a little clunky in that way. I like what it does, and I like it, but it can be a little hard to teach. But also, when to take tokens from where? Okay, do I take them from the board or the supply? Do I put them back from the board or the supply? Do I take them here and I put them here? You get it after a while, but it is something that it's possibly easy to screw up, and if someone screws it up, you can't quite tell what they're doing behind their shield. So that part was a little clunky, where it's like, okay, I'm gonna take these, I'm gonna buy these, and I'm gonna take the ones I need. If I need an extra one to change what my values are, because I already have 1 behind my shield, but now I have 3, so I should just take 1 and I put the other ones over here. It can be a little clunky. And again, it's very important to keep that bookkeeping perfect. So I don't know if there's a solution, but just be warned that very much so you're gonna need to teach how that thing works up front with everything open, and then teach it and kind of walk them through that, but it kind of is a little clunky there. Also, there were a lot of 500 tokens, and maybe myself and my group weren't that good, but we only pretty much used those once in a while at the end of the game when we're doing final scoring. I often wanted 10s and 50s for a little like making change and doing this and that, doing like day-to-day stuff on the game. The 500s felt like there were way too many of them, and those sizes, since the tokens are smaller as they get smaller, I feel like they should have added 50s and 10s and taken most of the 500s out, because you're pretty much using those at the end of the game when you're calculating your score anyways. But that's it. Few negatives there, but the game is fantastic. If you like stock market games, this is one of the most freshest, unique ones I've played in a while. And for that reason, it is getting my highest honor, which is a Saxophone Serenade, which means it's staying in my gaming library, which also means I gotta find something to get rid of for this game. This has been a Game Boy Geek, breaking down barriers, growing relationships through board games by helping you on the next one you'll love. Let's hit the Saxophone Serenade. Game Toppers not only transforms your existing table to a high-quality gaming solution, they now offer full leg kits and dining cover solutions for the full table application. Paired with their amazing, thematic, premium stitch edge mats from noted board game artists like Vincent Dutray, collapsible cup holders, and really cool accessories, it's a complete system that upgrades every game you play. Go to GameToppersLLC.com or click the link below.